Okay, after like 4 or 5 episodes, are we finally going to find out where Grog's strength truly comes from? Because everyone keeps asking him.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and welcome back to another spoiler review. We are taking a look at the Legend of Vox Machina Season 2, Episode 9, entitled A Test of Pride. This is a spoiler review, so if you have not watched this episode yet, please pause this video, go check it out, and come back and hear my spoilery thoughts on the episode. And if this happens to be your first time joining me for one of my reviews, or just a video in general, I welcome you to the channel. I do reviews and reactions, discussions, some gaming, some drinking, just a lot of geeky stuff, and I like to have a lot of fun. And if you happen to be into that sort of thing from a geeky bear like myself, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. It would help this channel out immensely. So episode 9, titled A Test of Pride, is primarily focused on Grog and his backstory that we finally get to see, like where he came from, how he was exiled from his herd or horde. This episode sees Scanlan, Pike, and Grog make their way to Westrun while it has been completely overthrown by a band of storm giants, I think. It's whatever Grog's species is in terms of his barbarian giant nature. We get to see a little bit of a flashback of Grog when he was a part of the herd and when he was going off on his first raids along with his uncle Kevdak, who is the leader of this group and in possession of the Titanstone Knuckles, which is one of the vestiges of Divergence, one of the ones that they need in order to defeat the Chroma Conclave. We do get to see how merciless and brutal these giants are and how Grog used to be. I mean, he was quick to chop fools down without even a second thought. He was fully engrossed in the herd and how he was raised, and his uncle was to be feared, especially with the power of a vestige at his disposal. Now, at the time, Grog didn't know it was a vestige. He wasn't trying to keep it from anybody, but it definitely was something he was fearful of encountering, especially because of his uncle Kevdak. Kevdak also has a son named Xandor, who was very close with Grog, and during the flashback, as they're going through and murdering people, there is an incident that causes Grog to have a change of heart, and this is Grog's first encounter with Wilhelm Trickfoot, Pike's great-great-grandfather. And Pike never knew this story, and as Grog is giving sort of the cliff notes of the story, it's very surprising, but this is the moment when Grog realized what he was doing and that he didn't necessarily want to be this way. And he ends up sparing Wilhelm and also protecting Wilhelm from his cousin Xandor, who was quick to try to kill Wilhelm. While the story is being told, Scanlan decides to infiltrate Westrun to try to figure out the location of the vestige and decides to polymorph into a dragonfly and make his way through the city and, encountering Xandor, while Xandor is not super happy with his dad and his decision to basically be under the foot of Umbrasyl, because Umbrasyl is still in charge of Westrun, and the Horde is providing tribute to Umbrasyl at the same time. Xandor decides that he wants to challenge his father. The polymorph spell does end mid-conversation, but before Scanlan is found out, he's able to make his way into a hideout that some of the refugees from the town have kind of hunkered down in and are hiding from the Horde. And he encounters another halfling named Kaylee and her band or her group that she's kind of plays music with or travels with. And Kaylee clearly has some resentment to Scanlan, albeit Scanlan doesn't really recognize Kaylee. Mild future spoiler, Kaylee is actually Scanlan's daughter. And it doesn't help that Scanlan doesn't recognize her. But there is a family resemblance when you see both Kaylee and Scanlan in the same shot. So she clearly has some beef with her dad, and her dad has no idea why this beef is happening because he doesn't know that Kaylee is actually his daughter. She wants to get people out of the situation that they are currently in, but doesn't trust that her dad is going to be the, brave and not just run off like he clearly had done in the past. But cutting back to the conversation that Grog and Pike are having, We get to see that Grog helps Wilhelm escape the city, but not before Grog gets his jaw rocked by his uncle Kevdak and is almost beaten to death because he decided to save someone and went against the herd. And this is how Grog is actually exiled from the herd and left for dead out in the wilderness. He is saved thanks to Wilhelm and someone who I assume is his daughter, who looks eerily like Pike. So I don't know if this is Pike's mom or maybe her grandmother, because Wilhelm is Pike's great-great-grandfather. Then there would have been a grandfather and a grandmother, and there would have been a mom and a dad. So that's how life works, technically. It's an interesting sort of factoid that Grog never shares with Pike, is that they have a much deeper connection than just being best buddies. I mean, like, they were kind of destined to be friends because of the past familial relationship that Grog has had with the Trickfoots. I mean, they saved his life after he is bludgeoned to death, but it was kind of more so of returning the favor for Grog saving Wilhelm's life. So I think that's really sweet. And it's really special. When they decide to finally make their way into Westrun, they do a little trickery to try to get past the guard. But they eventually do encounter Scanlan again, as he is convinced to help the rest of the refugees make it out of the city, as Umbrasyl returns for his tribute, along with Ripley riding on his back. And Umbrasyl is still in possession of Mythcarver that Scanlan is able to see, and also able to see that Ripley is with him, but he doesn't remember who Ripley is because Scanlan's memory is shite for some reason. So after a brief conversation between Umbrasyl and Kevdak, Umbrasyl and Ripley leave, and this is when Rankar Zanror. Why does he have a dumb name? Zanror. This is when Zanror decides to stand up to his father, and it does not go well, as you can expect. That quickly taken down, but during sort of the scuffle and the distraction of Umbrasyl making his way to the city, they are able to get the people out, but Grog has a change of heart and decides that he wants to confront his uncle because of the way that the refugees are looking at Grog, because he looks just like the people who just massacred their entire city. So I get it. He feels that this is never going to change as long as his uncle is still in charge. So he decides that he's going to confront his uncle and try to stop him once and for all. And this is a really cool sort of callback to episode 3 of season 1, after Pike decides to leave, and the way that she talks to Grog about she has to do this alone. Grog saying, but what if I need you? And it's almost word for word the same thing, but the roles are reversed, with Grog saying he has to do this alone, and Pike professing, what if I need you? And at the same token, Scanlan kind of directs Kaylee to take the other people and get out and make their way for the forest. And Kaylee does not look happy that her father seems to be abandoning her again. There's a lot of stuff that's going to have to get worked out, probably next season, most likely, once she becomes a much more prominent character, and maybe once Scanlan knows who the hell she is. The episode does end with Kevdak, I hope I'm saying these names right, Kevdak basically telling the herd, like, listen, if anybody wants to leave, leave, but if you're going to challenge me, that's not cool. And ends up throwing his son off the balcony down to the ground, and basically telling anybody, if anybody wants to step up, step up. And that's when Grog shows up and it's like, remember me? And that's when the episode ends. So it's a pretty straightforward episode. We get the backstory of how he was exiled from the group, how he encountered the Trickfoots and begun that bond, and why he made the decision to change because of his encounter with Wilhelm. We see Scanlan encounter his daughter for the first time, even though he doesn't know. We also get to see Grog finally realizing what he needs to do. He has to stand up and face it. Him making the choice of what is right, especially with episode 10, is going to be the confrontation between Grog and Kevdak, and that will probably lead into some sort of fight with Umbrasyl in episodes 11 and 12 next week. So we are at the stage now where we know where the rest of the season is going to go. 2 vestiges, eventually it will be 3. Will they get Mythcarver back, making it an even 4? I think so. I think by the end of the season, they're going to have the Deathwalker's Ward. They're going to have Fentress, Myth Carver. I think those are going to be the 4 vestiges that they have leading into season 3. We're getting down to it, but that's going to be where the episode ends, with that lovely little cliffhanger. Not as heavy of a cliffhanger as the last 2 batches of episodes have been, but it definitely sets up for a very action-heavy 3 episodes to wrap up season 2 that we will be getting next week. I did enjoy this episode. I always love a good character-driven episode, and I like, again, how this season has done a great job of giving every character of Vox Machina time to shine more. Like, a lot of them have all had their own individual episodes. So everyone's getting time to shine this season, which has been wonderful. We've been able to expand more on people's backstories, understand where people came from, so we know where they're going. And having the Chroma Conclave be the constant through line throughout the season has been great. This is obviously going to drag over into season 3, because there's no way they're defeating them this season, not in 3 episodes. So it's going to be cool. I'm very excited for the last 3 episodes of the season coming next week. That is my review of episode 9, A Test of Pride. So like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for checking out this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. I thank you so much for all the support and watching these videos. I really do. It means a lot to me. It really does. And all of the likes and subscribing to the channel have been great, and I really, really appreciate it. It makes all the hard work worth it. I guess that's the best way of putting it. So please comment, let me know anything from the episode that you liked, stuff that you didn't like, things you hope for the finale as we get that next week. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. I do have a ton of videos on this channel besides Critical Role stuff that you're more than welcome to check out. I have some other videos coming up, so look forward to those. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.